Hello. Yes, I know I'm in an awkward position because I just got back from class and I would like to rest. So, I thought I would get out the huge pile of CDs that my good friend, known as none other than Alex Hoover, delivered it to me since I supposedly spoiled him based on all the fun stuff we did in Boston. Now he's repaying the favor, so that's super dope of him. First, we're starting off with Human by 3 Days Grace, signed to RCA Records. I think this is the first 3 Days Grace CD I have. With a lot of notable songs like Car Crash, I Am Machine, Tell Me Why, Human Race, Painkiller, Fallen Angel, the better Fallen Angel than Black Veil Brides. No offense to you, Hoover, but with extreme offense to your so-called friend, Corey Nerlinger. We're not going to get too deep into that now, but you get the idea. Next is another 3 Days Grace album. Transit of Venus. Misery, Loves My Company, Happiness, Time That Remains, Broken Glass, Sign of the Times, all great track records. Next, we've got a Breaking Benjamin album. Koala! Firefly, huh? Not the Owl City version. I'm sure this version will definitely be better. I'm going to shake things up a little bit and listen to albums that I either haven't listened in forever ago or haven't listened to in their entirety yet. Next is another 3 Days Grace album, Outsider. Once I start listening to these albums, I'll never want to turn them off. Next is another Breaking Benjamin album, Dear Agony. I Will Not Bow, my favorite on the album. I remember my professor played that song in our car lab last year. He was on the 2000s rock radio station, and I Will Not Bow just so happened to come on. Signed to Hollywood Records. Next is Saturate by Breaking Benjamin. Wish I May Medicate. Oh, that was written by AFI, too. Even though I presume that's not a cover of said song. Next is another a Breaking Benjamin album known as none other than arguably one of my favorite albums by them, Dark Before Dawn. I think I have Phobia by them, but since my CD collection is so big, I can't keep track of all of them. Bury Me Alive, I think, is my favorite off this one, or Breaking the Silence. With that beautiful ass cover of The Eclipse. 3 Days Grace, Life Starts Now. Of this really hilarious cover of them how-to basicing the shit out of electronics. This will be fun to listen to. And none other than the almighty Avenged fucking Sevenfold. Signed to Capitol Records, and they yet again show their rawness once again in their discography off of none other than The Stage. Not my favorite album of theirs they've ever made, but I still love it. Oh, look at this. It's pretty neat. Astronaut Star. I think I first heard of their songs when I first played The Stage off Rock Band, since The Stage and Goddamn are both on said game. Next is a 90s classic, Hellbilly Deluxe by Rob Zombie. This gives me flashbacks to none other than Gran Turismo 2 when the song Dragula was featured on said game, but with its own remix rather than the original version. That song, I Think I'm Paranoid, sex type thing. I find it funny how a lot of Gran Turismo 2 songs and Gran Turismo 3 music and Gran Turismo 4 music happen to be on Rock Band, whether it be Kickstart by Heart or what other songs? She Sells Sanctuary, a lot of it, which is why I decided to go out of control and buy a lot of Rock Band DLC so I can make those Gran Turismo playlists or NASCAR playlists or whatever the fuck, or even Need for Speed Most Wanted playlists. Next is Korn Issues that I got from Goodwill when I was shopping with my mother in New Hampshire to get my computer, might I add. Since I now officially have a new computer, by the way. I just haven't been up to editing recently because there's a lot of homework up my ass. Next we have Hammerfall by Hammerfall Dominion. Saw these guys live opening up for Sabaton, and now I'm gonna see them live in concert after Beast in Black opens up for them, their most latest album. Let's see, the strongest ones is Never Forgive, Never Forget, We Make Sweden Rock, Dominion, Battle Worn, Bloodline, all that stuff. This is a fucking badass album. Probably so far the best of the pile I have to offer today, since this is my first CD pickup video of 2020. Next, I have no why I decided to buy this album out of randomness, but because of my phobia of eternal nothingness after death, I decided to search up whether or not there was a band name called Eternal Oblivion. And go figure, here it is, right here. Human Fields, Eternal Oblivion. Probably the most fucking brutal name I've ever seen in my life. You know, something as dismal as Eternal Oblivion is so brutal, so dismal, so depressing that they had to name themselves that too. I think that's pretty rad. No one wants Eternal Oblivion. Next is off one of the more modern traditional heavy metal bands from Europe. These guys are from Sweden, by the way. Is their second album in their discography from 2015, Desecrator by Ambush, Possessed by Evil, Night of the Defilers, South Street Brotherhood, Disaster, Seventh Seal. All those are fucking kick-ass albums. These guys are like the modern day Accept. If you like that kind of music, if you really love bands like Accept with all your heart, you have to listen to this. You will regret not listening to this if you really are still stuck in your nostalgia trance in this day and age of 2020. Next is Shadows Fall. Another Bostonian metalcore band. Hang on, I think the pizza's burning. I'll be right back. Stay on by. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Next, we've got Stained. This is gonna be a killer to listen to, for sure. I think they're from Boston, I'm not certain though. Next is an album I got for myself, Souls of Black by Testament, an absolute fucking thrash classic. I can thank Rock Band 2 for introducing me to these badasses through, of course, the song itself, Souls of Black. So add that to the list of Testament albums that I have. Even though I like the re-recorded version better than the studio version. Nonetheless, Testament still kicks ass. Next we have what I like to call the Sabaton of metalcore, Ice Nine Kills. I heard these guys are playing in May 5th, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to swing it yet, because I still have school up until that point for starters, and I'm not quite as sure if I would be able to have enough free time to go there yet, because I don't exactly know the current state of what I'll be doing in early May. I know where I'll be going, theoretically going in late May, though. But that's for another discussion. Next is the almighty, mighty Bosstones. Saw these guys in 2009 when they were opening up for my uncle's band, Bim Skullabim. I don't remember what song that they had in Rock Band 2, but all I remember is that they were featured on it. I don't remember what album either, but I'll have to play Rock Band 2 again. I wish I could export that whole entire library to Rock Band 2, though. Rock Band 4, but of course, everything just has to have an expiration date. Why not just load the whole library into the DLC department? Why not just load it into the DLC store? Why not load all of them there? Oh, you're right, because of licensing issues, but whatever. Next is Avenged Sevenfold live in the LBC and Diamonds on the Rough. I think, yeah, this is when they had their live show at Long Beach, because I would assume LBC stands for Long Beach Concert. Let's see. Hey, Crossroads. Walk. And, No Paranoid? No Paranoid? Huh. I would assume that they would have added their cover of Paranoid by Black Sabbath on this cover album. Or live album, or whatever the fuck. I still am stoked to listen to that album nonetheless. Next, we've got Big Ones by Aerosmith. I'll be crying. And, dude looks like a lady, ragdoll, love an elevator, and, eat the rich, living on the edge. Living on the edge. Walk on water. I would hope they're not referring to fucking Jesus. Signed to, none other than, of course, the legendary Geffen Records. Which is a lot of what a lot of legendary bands like Aerosmith, Van Halen, or whatever the fuck signed to. Guns N' Roses as well. Next, we've got Stained, Break the Cycle. I'm interested in breaking a lot of cycles when it comes to life. Speaking of which, since I had my anti-aging video the other day, so circle of life is really the circle of death, but has nothing to do with the video. Nonetheless, I can't wait to listen to this album at all. Then again, there's a lot of albums to listen to, so it's gonna be hell to go through every single one of them. Hey, Gary. Next is Aerosmith's greatest hits. Of course, Walk This Way, Last Child, which I just FC'd on Guitar Hero 2, Dream On, Same Old Song and Dance, Kings and Queens, the last song to play in the campaign for Aerosmith Guitar Hero. Would have been better if they added Train Kept It Rolling on there, but I still love this album nonetheless. Well, not really an album, it's just more like a compilation. Hold on. Next is Nine Lives by Aerosmith. Another more albums from these Bostonians. A lot of Bostonians. I got a lot of albums that are written by Bostonians, but Aerosmith is the earliest example when it comes to rock. Honkin' on Bobo by Aerosmith. A lot of Aerosmith albums. Next is Born of Osiris, The Simulation, one of the better progressive deathcore bands that I enjoy listening to. All That Remains, The Order of Things. The cover of this album looks progressive as fuck. This is definitely an album that you would expect. The cover of this album is what you would expect from a progressive metal band. I'm not sure if I remember listening to too much of this album, but I do remember Divide and For You. They have a song called True Cult Metal, which is probably a diss on the brain dead metal elitists because they're nothing more than raving douches that try to shove their bullshit tastes, bullshit standards, and bullshit opinions down everyone's throats. That'll be probably fucking hilarious to listen to. More Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster Bastards. The band's first studio album of all new albums in 11 years, huh? Back in 2012. I'm not sure if I remember that album. I probably must have heard of it at some point. I imagine on Ozzy's Boneyard or whatever the hell. Next is an album I got off eBay, and it's a 2000s classic. Holy shit, I called a 2000s album a classic. Octavarium by Dream Theater. Panic Attack, of course, as you would imagine, is my favorite of this album. Same with These Walls, Sacrifice Sons, and Octavarium. Mike Portnoy, John Petrucci, kick-ass musicians. Dream Theater is not the same without John Petrucci, Mike Portnoy, but I would still consider seeing them in concert if they're still going to be touring and stuff like that, which I hope they will. Next is Push Play by Aerosmith. Another Aerosmith classic. Actually, not really a classic. Actually, it is a classic considering it is from 2001. We got to start getting used to calling the 2000s now a classic decade since everyone, and I mean everyone, was feeling nostalgic about the 80s back in the 2000s, and everyone has been having this absurd nostalgia for the 90s when the 2010s hit. Now, when it comes to the 2000s, in the 2010s, it's going to be no different. I can only imagine of so many trends where they try and revive a lot of the other trends from the 2000s. Shrek is already a never-ending example. Next is Every Trick in the Book by Ice Nine Kills. Alice. Would have been. I would like the song title better if it said "In Hell" at the end, but hey, then again, that's Annihilator's song, not Ice Nine Kills. Ice Nine Kills is their own thing. Fearless Records, released in 2016. Next is Victim of the New Disease by All That Remains. One of their newer albums. Fuck Love. Hey, I remember hearing that song. A lot, actually. I heard that this album roots back to the Fall of Ideals days, so that's when I immediately know that this is going to kick ass for me. Next is, I know I'm not the biggest fan of this album, but I still like owning every discography to every Bostonian fan I generally listen to, but it's A War You Cannot Win by All That Remains. It's the song A War You Cannot Win, What If I Was Nothing, and Down Through the Ages, Stand Up, Asking Too Much, Not Fading are the songs I like off this album. Pretty damn badass cover album, though, I'm not gonna lie. It's just that the album itself, in terms of production and formula, could have been better. But hey, I don't hate this album, but I don't love it even. For some reason, I can't quite. Aha! All That Remains. For We Are Many. It's a pretty damn intimidating looking cover. I was about to say, I don't know this band, and then I saw All That Remains. Sorry, I had a little bit of a hazy memory right there, so sorry if I presumably embarrassed myself by initially not knowing the band name. And then last of the bunch, Believe by Disturbed. Not sure how many Disturbed albums I have, but nonetheless, this is a good listen. Definitely a good listen, especially Prayer. Alright, now to load all those albums onto my iTunes library. And boy, is that gonna take a long ass time. Hope you guys enjoyed that video of mine. Stay tuned for more, and have a nice day. Space out.